Normally, Warrandyte doesn't have that much of a connection with Ballarat for most of us. After all, it's a suburb on the northeastern fringe of Melbourne. However, two theatre companies, the Ballarat National Theatre and the Warrandyte Theatre Company, have joined forces to put on a play. The play is all about 2020, and the play could be written by you. Emma Wood is a playwright and is curating stories for this particular production, and Emma is our guest. Emma, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for your time. My first question, Emma, is quite simple. Do you think anyone's really going to want to see a play about 2020? Don't we want to forget 2020?
Unfortunately, we're still in it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure a lot of us would like to forget it. Look, I think part of our purpose here is cathartic purposes. I think people like to have their stories heard. We're also not just seeking the saddest of stories, although we are open to any real stories that come our way. But a lot of this year has been about, finding a new way to cope, finding a new way to live, I guess, and people do have stories to share. So we're open to anything from the funny and ridiculous through to the sad and sorrowful, whatever people would like to share. And
okay.
I take your point, but I think we've all got a story to tell about this year, and people do like to talk about what they've been through.
Yeah. Okay, so how are you going to do this? How will this all come together in the end, do you think, at this point?
We're just really doing it via a Facebook page. So tomorrow night we're doing a launch, which Liana Skews of Ballarat National Theatre is sort of host and moderator for. Once we've launched tomorrow night, which is really just an info session, meet the team sort of thing and ask some questions, every morning from Saturday morning for 2 weeks, I'll be posing a question on a Facebook page that's designed for this event, and anyone who wants to answer the question in their own words can. And gathering those answers over a couple of weeks, I'll start to, gather and create a script entirely out of the words that people have offered me about their year.
Mm. Okay, so the more contributions you get, the more material you have to work with, but it doesn't sound like you will necessarily be able to incorporate everyone's story or everyone's idea.
No, I would expect not to be able to incorporate every word that's added to the page, but I will try very hard to incorporate a thought from everybody who participates over the fortnight's period. So I wouldn't want it to be dominated by just a few voices, even if they're regular posters every day. I'll do my best to represent a range of country and city voices, which is partly what the collaboration is about as well. Sorry, Ballarat's probably not really the country, but regional is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Oh, no, well, we like to consider ourselves part of the broader country sort of area when it suits us, and a city when that suits us, so,
Yeah, I lived there quite a few years ago now, but yeah, it does straddle that quite well.
Now, Emma, have you done anything like this before, taking people's stories about something that's going on and turning them into a production?
Yeah, I was asked late last year when I lived in Newcastle, New South Wales, to help some stroke survivors put together a script about their own experiences of suffering strokes and then the consequences that has on their life and their lifestyles, I suppose. That was actually a follow-up script to one they'd already performed or they'd already done with a Sydney playwright, which I believe ABC featured on a Compass episode a couple of years ago. Anyway, it was a really rewarding venture for them, for me, and I think for the audience who finally saw it. It was them telling their own stories and me, I guess, just helping to curate and give some structure to what they wanted to tell people about their experiences. So a month or so ago, I saw Ballarat National Theatre did a call out to, we're looking for Zoom theatre opportunities. We're interested in if you have any ideas. And I suddenly thought, wow, like last year's stories that I helped to shape were very different. But like I said before, and I don't want to be boring, but we all have stories from this year and they're all interesting. And in a way, we're going through a sort of collective trauma. And I think that unlocking stories can be a great way of sharing that and helping to process it.
Mm. So that's how this came about. You noticed the Ballarat National Theatre was doing this and you asked to sort of do the collaboration?
Yeah, I just pitched it to them. I noticed it because I have a very small role in their current Pride and Prejudice internationally successful podcast that they've done such a great job with.
Yep.
And because of that, I've just been keeping an eye on their social media. So when I saw it, I didn't instantly think that, but I don't know, a few days went by and I thought, actually, I think we've all got something to share here. So I pitched it to them. I also pitched it to my nearest company here of Warrandyte. Funnily enough, I haven't worked with Warrandyte until now. I've only actually just moved to Melbourne this year. Excellent timing.
That was good. Yeah, I was going to say, good timing, yeah.
Happy New South Wales memories far behind. I have met a few people on Zoom from Warrandyte Theatre Company, so I pitched it to both companies and thought either one or both may be interested, and if both are, we can collaborate. And fortunately, they both were, and I guess in this new Zoom-friendly world, we're all kind of used to that technology now, and the only advantage to theatre, obviously we all miss our live theatres, but it is an advantage being able to collaborate with people from other places that you normally wouldn't come into contact with. So that's exciting.
Okay. So Emma, you get all your contributions, you pick them all apart, you write the play, everyone's happy with what you've got. My understanding is you want to perform this at the end of November. So how's that going to work?
I'm not going to direct it, so I'm going to be part of the playwriting.
Okay.
I'll be basically the playwright gathering the stuff, and then Susan Rundle and Adrian Rice, who are two Melbourne-based directors here at Warrandyte, they will be directing the play using a selection, or they'll audition for Ballarat and Melbourne actors, and they'll present it on Zoom. Now, we were just talking about this last night. We'd set the date for the 27th of November, and then I thought, hang on, here in Melbourne, that's the first weekend of freedom. Nobody's going to want to spend that Saturday night on Zoom. So we might bring it forward a little bit to mid-November. Details, of course, will be available on the BNT page. But yeah, we're hoping actually down the track, as well as having a Zoom performance, which is all we can do at the moment, to possibly meet up that same group of actors maybe sometime early in the new year and perhaps do a live performance in each city, which would be even more exciting. Yeah,
it's an interesting project. How do people get involved? How do people contribute their stories or get involved in this Friday, the launch that's happening tomorrow?
Launch. Yeah. Look, the easiest way for Ballarat people is if you just jump on the Ballarat National Theatre Facebook page. All the details are published there about tomorrow night's launch and about the page that we've opened. It's generally open to the public. Anyone who wants to contribute within Victoria, of course. Because Victoria's been through a bit of a special journey this year, although Mr. Morrison said we're all Melburnians now, I'm pretty sure no one down here feels that way.
Yeah.
We've had a special little chapter of our own.
Yes, indeed. And in that vein, what are you going to do? I know you said, fun stories, challenging story, all that. What are you going to do if everyone just, becomes old misery guts and sends you a whole lot of really sad stuff? How do you do that so that it's still
Well, I guess I'm giving myself 14 questions over 14 days, and I've got quite a long list of about 20 questions at the moment, which as things evolve, I'll try and, if I need to, shape it in a certain direction. So if we're only getting really sad stuff and I want to have some lighter tones, I've got a couple of questions that I might pitch, like, tell us the story of what would you call this year for you if it was a movie and who would you cast? Things like that that might just lighten the tone a bit. So, yeah, I don't want to dictate to people what the tone should be, but we are looking, I guess, for a range of experiences. And I suppose one thing about this year, although I called it a collective trauma before, and it is, but some people, of course, have been harder hit than others. For other people, it's just been a series of inconveniences leading to some pretty funny stuff in some cases. I've even heard of a few people who quite enjoyed a year just in their house on their own, not having to engage with a whole lot of, stuff that we're always so overwhelmed with. So
well, I actually
some lighter stuff will come through.
I actually overheard a conversation on the weekend where a lady was saying she was sort of lamenting the end of lockdown because now you don't have an excuse not to invite people to certain gatherings.
Well, yeah. I mean, it has in many ways simplified and streamlined lives. I can't say I'll be lamenting the end of it because I've got a young child and a teenager, and, just for them, it'll be great for them to have their schools and their lives back, and great for me to have a bit of time. But certainly there have been some aspects that have simplified lives for a lot of people, and so I don't know if that's funny exactly, but yeah, we're looking for all range of stories, and also from a wide range of ages, because I feel like one of the interesting things about the pandemic has been, and this will play out for years, how it's affected different generations very differently. So it'll be interesting to hear from people of all sorts of ages about their thoughts on that.
Emma, I'll give some of the details about the where people can go on Facebook and the like again. Thanks for your time. I hope it all goes well.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the time this morning.
Emma Wood, playwright, and is putting together this joint effort, collaboration between the Warrandyte Theatre Company and the Ballarat National Theatre. She's curating stories for the production, and sometime around the end of November, they're going to perform it. And it's about this year. It's about 2020 and what we are going through. The easy way to find out more, the launch is on tomorrow. It's via Facebook, basically. So if you look for Ballarat National Theatre on Facebook, you should be able to find when this is on and some of the details. And if you want to contribute, then you will be able to do that.